Events like this are not possible without sponsorships, and we have a couple of sponsors that helped us out with this event. I'd like to recognize them. My friend Ray Douglas from King Sailfish Release Mounts. Ray's not here with us tonight, but he donated many of the trophies that will be awarded. So a big round for Ray. Also, another IGFA representative and great artist is David Worth. David created the beautiful custom trophies for our Angler's Choice Awards and our Lifetime Achievement Awards that you see over here. Batterby's Art Gallery of Winter Park, Florida. This is one of our newer corporate partners here at IGFA, and Batterby's donates several pieces of art throughout the year that we use in our fundraising events. So thanks Batterby's and thanks Richard for that. And then finally, Tackle Direct. Tackle Direct helps with our fundraising events throughout the year, in addition to sponsoring this event on behalf of their pro staff, Miss Maureen Clowes, who will be receiving an award tonight. Thanks for coming, Maureen. And finally, these events are obviously not possible without the hard work of the IGFA staff members who put all this together. So I'd like to recognize them, and in particular, the co-MC for this evening, whom I think most everybody in this room knows by now, our world's record coordinator, Mr. Jack Vitek. Thanks, Jack. So with that, I'm going to get the evening going here. I'm pleased to announce that joining us tonight to kick off this fun event and present the Gil Keach, Bob Herter, and Lifetime Achievement Awards is esteemed angler, author, world record holder, and future Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Chico Fernandez. Now, I would think that most everybody in this room has at least heard of Chico, if not knowing him personally. But for those that haven't, he has been an icon in the saltwater fly fishing community for decades. Chico has written several books on fly fishing techniques and continues to regularly contribute to a variety of international publications. Chico has also impacted the boating and fishing industries as a consultant with industry leaders such as Hell's Bay Boat Works, Costa Sunglasses, and too many fishing tackle and rod companies for me to mention. Chico is an IGFA representative, was a founding member of Bonefish and Tarpon Trust, and still remains active there. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome my friend Chico Fernandez.
Thank you. Oh boy. They've entrusted me to say a few words of what I think of world records and what my philosophy is and so on. That was a dangerous thing to do, but it's done. I'm here. First of all, congratulations to all of you who are receiving trophies. Job well done for sure. And I'm sure if you've done this, you're probably going to look for other world records and other achievements. And so I want to give you my thoughts on world records. After 60 years of fly fishing, actually, I've been fly fishing 60 years. It doesn't sound right, but unfortunately it is. So here are my thoughts. I get someone, usually a friend or someone I know, tells me they're going to go after a world record. They pick whatever species and so on, and I go through the protocol. Good luck, go get him, break a rod, whatever the thing is. The truth is, I don't wish him good luck. I really don't. What can I tell you? You see, I think that I don't want you to go out on your quest, and the first day, on the first morning you catch a world record, you come back right back with a world record, and you know what? You've learned nothing. When I see someone starting that quest, I want them to learn. I'm kind of a romantic, but I see the world record quest as an adventure, always have. Bilbo Baggins at the Hobbit, going to slay the dragon and get the treasure, that's me. That's how I look at it. I don't fish and don't think you should fish just for the moment of the strike. And I don't think you should go on a quest for a world record and only be happy when you finally landed the fish. If you do, you're missing so much, because that quest, that adventure is unbelievable. First of all, there's the preparation. You probably already decided the fish. Mine would probably be a snook, but yours may be a blue marlin. You decided on the tackle, the pound test line. You decided on all of this, and now you're making preparations, not only of the tackle, but where you're going to go and how you're going to, where is that species the largest in the world, and where are they in a position and in an environment that you can land them on that light tackle. So there is the preparation. Then there's the trip, the wonderful, wonderful trip to remote areas, to exotic areas where you meet local guides, and where you meet all kinds of friends, where you have different foods. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. Even if you do decide to catch your record here in the United States, Key West is practically another state, another country, you know. You're probably in a different world there too. So I think you'll be missing a lot if you don't enjoy all of this. The tackle, you learn to cast better. The rigging, you learn to rig. You learn 20 times around knots. You learn tackle that would hold 100%. Then you get to the lure or the fly or the live bait. And it's an art already whether the fly is tied this way or not, or whether you work a jig right on the bottom and you have a feel for that jig, or whether you fish a light bait the right way. It's all an art, and it's all a learning process. And if that's not enough, there's teamwork. You don't catch world records by yourself. You have a guide or a friend who does a lot for you, as you well know. So you learn to communicate. You learn to communicate when you're hunting for a fish. Someone is polling you. Let's say your world record was out of a skiff and they're polling you. You're learning from him or her all the time. Then you're talking about hooking the fish, and now there's yelling and running, and you got too much slack, and this communication becomes kind of exciting and erratic, as you probably know. And if you think that's rough and that's yelling hard, wait till you get the fish close to the boat, and then it gets even worse. You know, the fish gets under the boat. There's all kinds of 4-letter words and 5-letter words and 32-letter words and all that. We've all lived through all that. But that's part of the game. That's part of this world record thing. And then there's learning about the species you want to catch, whether it's a snook that I love so much, or a blue marlin, or whether you're looking for a big wahoo and you're looking for places that big wahoo exists, maybe on the Gulf of Mexico, for example. So you learn about that fish, and when you do, whatever the species, you start learning about the environment, understanding the environment where the battle is going to take place. And in doing so, I find that no matter where I go to either look for a world record or simply look for a big fish of some species, you always wanted to catch a wahoo over 80 pounds, you always wanted to catch a tarpon over 100, whatever. When you learn about that environment, you can't help but think about conservation a bit. Almost every place I go in the world has a problem. And you learn about that, and you become a better angler, and you become a more concerned angler when you're doing that. And as all of that happens, you not only learn a lot, but you improve as an angler. You improve, you become a much, much better angler. And it gets to a point, at least for me, where the world record is still just as important. I'm still crazy about getting them. But it's kind of a bonus because I've enjoyed all the other things. You have matured as an angler. And at this point, at least to me, even if you still haven't caught your fish, you're a winner in my book. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, I don't think I'll be able to follow that one. Thank you, Chico. That was great. And it is great to see everyone here tonight. Thank you again, everyone, for coming out. It's extremely humbling to see all these people here from around the world joining us tonight. For 6 years, since I've been working at IGFA, I've been trading emails with a guy in the room. His name's Mark Hope. He submits outstanding barramundi records from Australia. He came all the way over here tonight to join us and accept his award, as well as another group from Australia, English Choice winner Simon Smith from Norway. So the fact that people would travel from all over the world, all over the United States, to come here and join us tonight is extremely humbling, and we greatly appreciate that. Thank you, guys. But in essence, that's what IGFA is about. Bringing people together, bringing anglers together. That's what we've been doing for 75 plus years, bringing anglers together from around the world with the common bond being sport fishing. That's what connects us all. What's great about this event, as you look around the room, especially now that we've overhauled our award system and everything like that, you look around the room and you get all types of genres in this room of anglers. Whether it's the guys who like to chase billfish on light tackle, catching salmon on fly rod and streams, or whether you really love chasing weird exotic species in the far corners of the globe. All genres are represented here tonight, and that's something that is really special, and something that really I think IGFA is the only organization out there that can do that. So it's very, very fun, very enjoyable night. So again, thank you guys for everyone for coming out here. So I mentioned briefly about the overhaul of the awards. For the first time at this event, we're not only honoring those anglers who have produced the most records over the past year in a certain category, but we're also honoring the top individual record catches from the past year. So before we get started here, before we get going with our awards, let me give you guys a quick run-through of how the night's going to proceed here. We're going to start off first with our top record producers category. These are the anglers that produce the most records in different categories, whether it be conventional, fly, saltwater, freshwater, junior angler records. So that's a little bit more the traditional award schedule that we've had. After that, we're going to move to our new, what we call our trophy catch category. And those are going to be broken down into basically two major categories, which would be the biggest catch, simply the biggest catch in different categories. So in heavy tackle, light tackle, and fly tackle, freshwater and saltwater. So that's 6 different awards we'll be giving for strictly the largest species in those different categories. And then the second category, which we'll be having within the Trophy Catch Awards, would be the catch ratio. And when we say catch ratio, what we're talking about is the ratio between the weight of the fish and the line used. So for example, if you were to go out and catch a 100-pound fish on 20-pound line, that would be a 5-to-1 ratio. Now historically, in sport fishing, the higher the catch ratio, the more prestigious, the more impressive the catch is considered. So that's kind of our rationale behind that. So tonight we're going to recognize 4 awards: the top catch ratio in the conventional tackle, saltwater and freshwater, and the top catch ratio in fly tackle, saltwater and freshwater. So after those are finished up, Chico's going to come back up and announce the Gilt Keach, Bob Herder, and Lifetime Achievement Awards. So everyone, I hope you took notes. There's going to be a quiz later. So without further ado, I want to get going with the awards here if you guys are ready to go. So it's been said, I'm not the first person by any means to say this, that the future of sport fishing lies with our young anglers, our junior anglers. Exposing anglers to the IGFA's principles of ethical angling and sport fishing at a young age is a great way to establish a strong foundation for the future and the future of our sport. Although it's this young angler's first visit to the IGFA to accept her award, Lydia Murray has been fishing with her family for years. Her first record actually came in 2011 when she was just a small fry angler. She's since aged a little bit and she's now in the junior angler category. This past year, Miss Lydia racked up 2 nice world records on Atlantic landlocked salmon and 1 on a mountain whitefish while fishing with her family in Canada. Her records allowed her to tie for the top record producer in the female junior angler category. She is with us tonight with her family who has traveled all the way down from Maine. It's a nice trip, and we are pleased to have her. So Lydia, if you would please come up and accept your award. That's great. Well, we will take the people that don't want to have a speech. We'll take that. That's it's not a bad thing. That's always err on the side of caution there. So in your bulletins here, your programs, you'll see there's a list of the different awards we're giving out tonight, so you can see. What I forgot to mention earlier is that there are some people that couldn't join us tonight, some award winners. And just so everyone's on the same page here, we're not going to be recognizing them here tonight. We're not going to be calling them out just for the flow of the evening. It works better. And we're also not going to be going in the order that's listed there. We're going to be bouncing around a little bit. So if you're looking at your program, you're going to be confused. So just don't really pay too much attention to that. So who I want to recognize next is a guy that I actually I heard about before I met him. I was fishing several years ago in the Turks and Caicos with one of our mutual friends now, and trying to fly fish for one of the first times in my life, and it was going very poorly. I had caught everything on my body and I had not caught a fish, but I was having a great time, and the whole time the guide couldn't stop talking about this guy who had just left, that he had just taken out guiding. And he's like, man, you should see this guy fish. He fly fishes like no one I've ever seen before. He's up and down the flat. He caught 10 bonefish in one morning. Finally, I was like, all right, man, I've had enough. I get it. The guy's really good. I get it. Okay. And sure enough, who that guy turned out to be was Dr. Jan Forspanian. Dr. Jan, without a doubt, is probably one of the most enthusiastic and passionate anglers I've ever seen or ever met in my life. Somehow he always seems to find time to go fishing, despite being, his extremely busy schedule as a doctor. I know we've always tried to spend time talking about fishing during these different award ceremonies and IGFA events, but we never get enough time to actually sit down and do it. So we've only scratched the surface on what you know. He's a wealth of knowledge, especially with bone fishing, especially with fly fishing. And over the past couple years has racked up several very impressive world records, and quite a good number of them as well. This past year, Dr. Jan racked up 4 saltwater world records on fly tackle, which includes an all tackle length bonefish, as well as 2 red grouper that he took on light fly tackle, which is pretty impressive. These catches have qualified Jan to qualify for the top record producer in the male saltwater fly category. So Jan, please come up and accept your award. Who needs stairs, right? There you go.
I'm trying to figure out what kind of fish is this, because I never caught fish that small so far. Thank you so much. It's a real privilege to be here with everybody, with the world record catchers, holders, and I congratulate to everybody who's trying to continue the effort of IGFA for fish preservation, and I want to thank you, IGFA, for everything that they have done so far. Actually, Rob and Jack, I think they absolutely irreplaceable people for IGFA. That's my personal opinion, but on the other hand, I don't know who is more replaceable. I want to congratulate to everybody, obviously, the guides and anglers, especially junior anglers, who we're just counting on them to continue this tradition and preserve our fish in the ocean. So it's just amazing. And just want to tell you, this jacket is something that is very special. Jack made me to wear this jacket every single year, and he said, "You're going to catch a lot of world records if you keep this jacket on." You know, I said, "All right, I will." You know, this year I said, "No, I'm going to trick the guy and see what's going to happen." Well, he was right, man. I didn't catch anything. No, I'm just kidding. So anyways, if you want to take this jacket and put it in an auction for IGFA next year, we'll see what's going to happen, you know. I want to thank my family and obviously all friends and you know, my twin sister, the smart girl, you know, came from Poland because she never believes I can catch anything. We have my nephew and his wife from Norway, you know. Can you imagine? I think there's some kind of coincidence because the Anglers Award came, you know, for the fish that was caught in Norway, right? The halibut. I mean, what happened? I think maybe some kind of connection, you know, some kind of, the biggest fish caught in Norway, my nephew came from Norway. What the hell is going on, you know? Anyways, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything you've done, IGFA, and support my family. And I just want to say something else, you know, that I think my business manager is here too. And I think the reason she came here is she wants to know how many times I'll go fishing next year, because she said, if you take one more day off, you're fired. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jan. I feel like that could be a nightmare scene, you know? You have to call your doctor and say, "Yeah, I need to see you, I need to see you." "Where are you?" "Oh, I'm sorry, he's left for a week to go fishing for bonefish." But makes it work, makes it work. So the next award winner that we're going to recognize tonight caught his first world record nearly 20 years ago. It was back in 1997. It was a 34-pound barracuda that actually still holds the male small fry record. He's one of the anglers, actually a handful of anglers in the room tonight that grew up with the IGFA and the IGFA's record program, pursuing world records at a very young age. Mr. Austin Porter has grown up with the IGFA. He's a great example of how the IGFA's junior angler program, people stay involved with it. Now, you know, he's a full-grown adult and is still pursuing world records, which is great to see. And over the past 2 decades, he's racked up a total of 41 world records to date on species which include gag grouper, red grouper, cobia, and several different species of shark and snapper. A lot of these come in on light tackle. Yet despite being so involved in the organization and pursuing world records, this is actually his first time here to accept an award. Last year, Austin compiled a total of 4 world records on fly tackle, actually tied with Jan to earn the top record producer in the male saltwater category. Austin's here tonight with his family and friends from Miami. He's a local, and we're pleased to have him here. Austin, come on up, man.
I'm not much of a talker here, so just thank my family for coming and everything they do for me. Thank you.
we're going to stick with the fly theme here for the next record as well, for the next couple award winners. You know, several special people in the room tonight that have really left their mark on world records, and this next award winner is definitely one of those people. Dottie Valentine has set more world records on fly than any other female angler in the history of IGFA. That itself deserves a round of applause. In fact, over the past 14 years, Dottie has racked up an incredible 138 world records, all on fly tackle. She's a past Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, and some of her species that she's caught world records on include some of the most iconic game fish species, such as tarpon, bonefish, cobia, redfish, and in freshwater recently some rainbow and brown trout. Last year, Dottie set a total of 22 world records on fly tackle, 6 of which came on saltwater species, including a 40-pound redfish or red drum on 12-pound tippet, and a 23-pound black tip shark on just 4-pound tippet. 2 very impressive catches. Her achievements over the past year, achieving 6 world records in fly on saltwater species, have earned her again as a tie in the top record producer category, or for the Female Saltwater Fly Award. Joining us tonight with her friends and family from Key West, Dottie, please come up and accept your award.
Thank you to the IGFA for this wonderful celebration. It's always a great pleasure to be here, and I think you have the most beautiful awards. I think they're just fantastic. So I relate to what Chico said about you don't do this alone, and I relate about the 4-letter words a lot. But I could not have done this without my husband, Fitz Coker, whose lifelong dedication to fishing has been an inspiration to me, who has tied leaders and rigged rods by the thousands. So thank you, Fitz. And of course, I could not have done this without our wonderful guides. 2 of our favorite are here tonight, Doug Kilpatrick and R.T. Trossett, whose professionalism and patience and good humor have made this whole endeavor a grand pleasure. So thank you. And thank you to Nathaniel and Kat for your support and friendship. And I just have to say a big thank you to the beautiful fish. Long live our fish and the fisheries. We have to take care of them. Thank you.
So I mentioned at the beginning of the program that part of what makes IGFA and this event in particular so special is that it recognizes the achievements of anglers all over the world, literally all over the world. Again, the fact that anglers travel so far to join us every year makes this event so much more special and so much more meaningful. That said, we certainly understand that it is a long way. I mean, we had some people travel quite a far distance to be here tonight. Others couldn't make it. We understand that sometimes it just strictly is impossible, but thanks to technology and a little creativity, one of our award winners tonight sent in a video accepting her award for the top record producer in the female saltwater fly category, actually tied with Dottie. Her name is Miss Marie Kitagawa. She's from Tokyo, Japan, and Let's take a quick look here at Miss Kitagawa's acceptance video. You guys just bear with me for a second here. The quality of the video is not the best, but just trust me, it's worth it. Let's go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Martini Arasta from Japan. I'm so honored to receive this award this year. I'm so touched. Today I'd like to say a few important words. I'd like to extend my thanks to my fishing mates and fishing peers. Fishing mates, they always encourage me to overcome my all challenges to face, but I face to reach my goal, including the world record. And thank you. I'd like to say thank you to my friends and IGFA and IWFA. Cheers!
Cheers!
Thank you. See you next year.
See you next year.
A quick story about that video is you probably noticed there was a cut when she was saying thank you, and then all of a sudden there were cheers and beers. We decided to cut that video. I gave it to our editor, the guy who edits our videos at IGFA, Adrian Gray, and he was taking a look at it, and we're really rushed trying to get it on the screen, and he says, hey man, you really need to come take a look at this. I don't know if we can run this video. I was like, what are you talking about? It's great. You know, that video is maybe 45 seconds. It originally was about 3.5 minutes. And so sure enough, Adrian's like, man, there's something funky about this video. So we go in there, and what you don't see in that video that we cut out was they staged a fish being caught on the fly rod right there. But it looks completely legit to the naked eye. You would have no idea. So this person's fighting a fish, they bring it on, they measure it, and they release it. It's a big celebration. It was great. I was like, man, that's perfect. It's going to be a great message for the evening. We'll put it in there, and they cheers the beers at the end, and perfect. So Adrian calls me, and he's like, take a look at this real quick. They pulled the old Jimmy Houston or whoever, and they put the fish in the live well, and you can see the mate grab it, hook it, if you're looking closely, and throw it overboard. And then all of a sudden, the guy comes tight on this fish. Oh, man, we caught a fish. This is fantastic. So needless to say, we might have to be looking at her records a little bit more closely in coming years. But regardless, it's a great video, and we're happy that she was able to send that in. So moving on here for our next award category, we've had quite a few new faces in here tonight. It's great to see people that traveled from so far to be here again, beating a dead horse on that. But you know, seeing new people in here, the new awards that we're going to get to in the next category, really kind of bring some new people here and really kind of recognize some true achievements and than what we have in the past. The next award winner is definitely not someone that fits into that category. Martini Arasta is no stranger to the IGFA or to this event or to world records. In fact, Martini has compiled more world records than anyone in IGFA history other than his father, Marty Arasta. Martini's first record came in 1998 when he was just a small fry angler. Since then, he submitted world records in every category available, and that includes small fry. Then he aged a little bit in junior records, and he grew up, started submitting line class, tippet class, all tackle, and all tackle length records. So literally every category of records available, Martini has submitted a record in. Impressively enough, there's come on 102 different species of fish. So this past year, Martini, despite being in school and other responsibilities, managed to set 7 freshwater world records on conventional tackle, which earned him the top record producer in the male freshwater conventional category. These records include a sharp-toothed catfish from Cuba, spotted gar on light tackle in Louisiana, Florida gar from the Florida Everglades, and a red horse from Wisconsin. Martini was able to join us tonight, all the way from his new home in Washington State, where he's studying. We're pleased to have you here tonight, Martini. Please come up and accept your award.
Well, I'm glad to be back, even if it's for only 48 hours, but thanks again for giving me another award and having me back. Keep this short and sweet. There are 3 people who I'd really like to thank in particular for this, and they are the 3 people who have taught me the most about fishing and about myself over the years in regards to being in the outdoors and being a conservationist, and 2 of those people are here tonight. They are my dad and Captain Bouncer Smith. The third, as many of you may know and many of you know of him and hopefully had the pleasure of fishing with him, is no longer with us. That is the legendary Captain Ralph Delph. And after spending many years of fishing with people like Ralph and Bouncer and all that they taught my father and my mother and went to teach me, it means a lot to be able to continue to go on doing what they have taught me to be so passionate about, and to continue to share that with other people and to continue to spread that joy with other people who have just started fishing or are just learning about it. So thank you again, and I hope that you will continue to share the joy of fishing with the people that you love and that you care about, and have a fun time doing it and spend as much time with those people as possible. Thanks.
Thank you, Martini. And our next award winner tonight is an angler that certainly doesn't conform to the norm when it comes to what you consider typically fishing. This angler's not really interested in pursuing the more popular game fish species that the majority of us would like to go out and fish on a regular basis. I'm pretty sure when he's at his home in California, literally a stone's throw away from some of the best largemouth bass, steelhead, yellowfin tuna fishing in the world, Mr. Steve Wozniak is probably scheming about how to catch the Arabian yellowfin sea bream, which is a thing, and the pink-tailed triggerfish, which is also a thing. He holds records on both of them. Again, while certainly not conforming to the conventional approach, Wozniak puts his emphasis on catching as many different species as possible. It's his life's goal, as many different species of fish as possible. Quite oftentimes, those fish become IGFA all-tackle world records. Since catching his first world record in 2005, Steve has racked up an impressive 124 world records on some of the most bizarre and obscure species in the world, literally. But what's special about Steve and the way he fishes, while it may not be what the majority of anglers would like to go do, the amount of research and time and effort that takes to research these different species, learn where they are, figure out how they will eat, what they will eat, and having it all come together in a short window of time is really impressive. Additionally, the data that is generated because of Wozniak's submittals over the years has literally changed science. I mean, he has caught specimens larger than what was previously described in scientific journals. Last year, Steve racked up an impressive 18 all-tackle world records on saltwater fish, earning him the top record producer award in the saltwater conventional tackle category. Steve, come on up.
I know you're all wishing I was one of the shy ones, but I worked through the shyness problem, and I'll have a couple of words. I wanted to thank, everyone's emphasized, this really does take a team, a lot of effort, a lot of support, a few people to recognize my lovely partner Marta, who seems to want me out of the house a lot. I just found out I'm going to India, and she said, take an extra week. But the awards do go in the garage, by the way. That is kind of the agreement. To thank the IGFA, for a fantastic event, and really fantastic messaging about conservation, responsible angling, which I think we really need to have, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. And the Arasta family, because there is nothing more encouraging than having people this passionate about fishing in my life. There's also nothing more depressing than having a Lifetime Achievement Award and sitting down at dinner with that family and having the 4th most records at the table. That's pretty wild. But one other person I'd like to thank, the old guy. The old guy I mean, I go all these strange places. I caught fish in 88 countries. And it's usually translated because I don't speak most of these languages, and I finally figured out English, when yelled loudly and clearly enough, still cannot be understood. But there's always this old guy wherever I go, whatever river in Burma, and he always says, "You should have seen it 20 years ago. You should have seen how many more fish there were. You should have seen that there were all these different fish." And it sort of hit me. I mean, this has been an amazing journey for me. I mean, I got my first award 5 years ago, and it doesn't get old. I mean, I remember that first night here and thought, gosh, I did this once. It's amazing. I did it a couple more times after that, and it's never less amazing. But, you know, as we all learn, and I've probably learned more slowly, and at the suggestion of Marta, it's not all about just us as individual anglers. It's about the sport and the future. And it's that old guy, and I've met him in so many countries, and it is critical and it is very important, because we want the next guy to be coming up here in 20 and 50 years to be able to be catching these strange things and to be able to still be going to some of these amazing places. But it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of focus now and coming up in the future, because it's happening. This isn't just something we should be a little bit worried about. It's happening, and it's happening in every country I go to, and those have been some strange and exotic places, including New Jersey. So, again, thank you very much, everybody, and hope to see you next year.
We had touched on the subject earlier about how there's a couple award winners we've already had tonight in attendance. Martini, Austin Porter, these young men, these guys who, you know, my age basically, have grown up, you know, since a very young age, fishing for IGFA world records, pursuing IGFA world records with their family. They're two great examples of that. You know, they were very active pursuing world records as junior anglers, and they still are today as adults. Fast forward about 20 years, and the most active record seeker in the junior angler category, young junior angler without a doubt, of the past several years, is Miss Julia Grace Kettner. At the ripe old age of 11, Julia Grace has compiled an incredible 94 world records on 24 different species of saltwater and freshwater fish, species that include largemouth and smallmouth bass, muskie, and white marlin. Kettner's no stranger to this awards category, or this awards event, excuse me. She's been here for the past several years with her family to accept her awards, and she continues to pursue world records. This past year, her total number was 38. 38 world records. That number was enough to actually earn her 3 different awards. She took the top place in the female small fry category. Then she turned 11 halfway through the year, so she kind of double dipped. And then she tied for the female junior category with Lydia, who's here. And then she also set a large number of line class world records on freshwater fish, which was enough to earn her the top record producer in the female freshwater conventional tackle category. So Julia Grace, please come up and accept your 3 awards.
Thank you to the IGFA, my family and friends, and my granddad for teaching me how to fish and always taking me fishing.
That is great. And we're happy to have Julia Grace's family and friends in town tonight from all the way from New York. So I think they were getting snow a couple days ago, so it should be a nice change being back down here. But thanks for making the trip all the way down here again this year. Working at IGFA for the past 6 years has been a great job, a great experience. I love the fish, and so it kind of just works out naturally. One of the things that I really enjoy a lot about the job is that, especially in my position, I hear a lot from people who have gone on these exotic trips to places that I've only dreamed about fishing. You know, fishing in Fiji, fishing in beautiful tropical islands, beautiful settings, and fish are practically jumping in the boat. I hear all these stories, and sometimes I get a little bit jealous. I start hearing this. Man, I want to be out there fishing, not sitting here in the office hearing about it. That sounds awesome. I can honestly say that I've never had those feelings after getting off the phone with Mr. Richard Hart. Never had those feelings. The reason for that is because Richard goes to some of the most exotic, rugged, God-forsaken destinations in the world to catch some of the most unattractive looking fish there are. Trahira, for example. Trahira is another name that they're called is wolffish. Okay. Another world record that Richard set recently was for a pyara. Their common name isn't much better. It's a vampire fish, what people call them. So, needless to say, it's something that Richard really enjoys and something he's very passionate about, something that he's gotten very good at doing. The amount of effort and time and research that Richard has to put in to travel to these locations, pursue these fish in the manner in which he does. There are no resorts, there are no lodges. This is camping in the jungle with locals and natives, and weeks at a time. I've had Richard come and drop off applications in my office after he comes back from one of these stints, and his legs are all bit up. Just looks like hell, being in the jungle for the past couple weeks. But he comes in with a stack full of record applications and some impressive ones at that. Over the past year, Richard set 33 fly rod world records, mainly on these exotic species, Trahira, pyara, peacock bass, traveling to the jungles of South America. Those 33 records were enough to not only earn Richard the top record producer award in the male freshwater fly category, but also the top overall male record producer of the past year. Richard, please come on up.
All right, I'm pleased to be up here again since last year. Last year was poignant for me. My grandmother passed away last year, and I used to turn up to my grandmother's house and she'd say, go and fish, go and fish. She had a little tributary of the famous River Stour in England that ran into a lake, and I could fish there till my heart was content. So I appreciate her effort in allowing me to fish. I appreciate my mother, who had said, okay, yeah, go on, off you go, get on the train, or the tube as we call it in London, and go and fish. And that's what I did at the weekends and the holidays to my heart's content. So I thank them. I was going to go in line with what Jack was talking about. I do have a passion. Some people, everyone's different, right? I love ugly fish, I do. I mean, the more ugly, the more dangerous, the more far, give it to me. Everyone's different, It's just how I am. And this year, like last year, I went on these trips, like you said, camping in the jungle, and just to prove it, I could pull out my legs, but I think you're all eating. You'd probably be sick if you saw what happened. So I've heard a lot of good things tonight already, and I'm a conservationist. I'm a proud corporate member of With Batterbees here, and I'm glad that all our staff and team have come along, and our family, thank you. And we're proud corporate members of the BTT and TU and ASA. And as auctioneers, all we do is raise money for different children's charities, and because of me, conservation charities. So I travel the world and I go and do auctions. I raise money in different parts of the world for different conservation causes. So I agree with that. But I do think that it's the biggest thing that I've learned in the last 3 years is very simple. It's the smallest things that can kill you. And last year, 3 months of antibiotics, and I was finally good. This year, I went further than any fisherman, any fly fisherman has ever been. I can guarantee it, in Guyana. And I went above three falls. I had a team of 3 people with me, paid extra, and I went up. Some of you that have been to the Amazon know. And we camped out there, and obviously took supplies. We had to do what we did. We boiled water. And I got stuck as we crossed this creek, because we're going after more trahera. And there I was in my Crocs, right, in my fly fishing gear. And I was up to my thighs in this creek, in this mud, and I was thinking, what the beep am I doing? And this was the level that we were going to try and chase these records, but that's where the big fish are, that's where you find them. I've never seen a fly or anything before. So you got to take it to the end, and these last 3 years, of course, I've taken it to the end, not only with nearly my life a couple of times, but we're learning about these people, these environments, and I'm so humbled by the people that take me out there and the guides. And I've got to hand out to the guides. I thank with all my heart one of my best teachers here in Florida, Captain Brett Isaacson. Give him a round of applause. Great guy. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I've learned so much from you, and I know I've driven you crazy, and I know I've dropped out those 4-letter words, I'm sorry. But it's the guides in these countries where I don't really speak, the same language as them. Luckily, Guyana is one of the only English-speaking South American countries. And I was there, and this guy, he was so good, I called him Rambo. His name was Davis. I called him Rambo Davis. So me and him were cutting through the jungle for 2 days to get to this creek. We camped, we cut through the jungle, we camped. We had all these freaking insects all over, as you can imagine. You don't want to see my legs. And we finished, and he helped me, and I gave him a great tip, and I said thank you. I gave him all my spare gear. That's what I do, so I don't have to fly back with it. Next day, bang, he got hit by a truck in the road, dead. Instantly, and the whole village. I flew back there, and I went to see him and go to his funeral. And this guy, was out there guiding me. My life depended on this guy helping me cook, and you've been out there. So I thank those guides, and I thank those native people that are out there that are, because of fishermen and because of fly fishermen, restoring lands that were forested before and they were harvested before, but because we go back with our money, they've decided that perhaps they don't have to harvest everything, and it's these guides that I really owe, and I'm so humbled to. So thank you to them, and sincerely thank you again to the IGFA and Jack, especially for your help. Thank you very much.
So our next winner in this category is the final award winner in the top record producer category for this evening. It's a lady that has really exploded onto the world record scene over the past several years. In fact, since 2012, Miss Meredith McCord has set 75 world records to date. That's since 2012, right? So I think it's pretty safe to say she's caught the bug, as they say. Every time I speak with Meredith and have spoken with her in the past, it seems like she's either just returned from a trip or planning another one or is doing some research on what tippet classes are available in different locations. She definitely puts in the legwork and the effort on that. Like many anglers that are new to chasing records, new to the record hunting kind of thing, Meredith's definitely learned along the way. It's been a learning curve, and she has 75 approved. There are a couple that didn't quite make it, but those lessons are kind of standard for people that first get into the game. And since then, I mean, Meredith is it's a joy to get her record applications. Everything's tidy, it's neat. No more knots with the line samples or anything. We got it all straightened out. It's great. So this past year. Alone this past year, Meredith has set a total of 57 world records on freshwater and saltwater species, using both conventional and fly tackle. Very impressive. Her impressive showing over the past year has earned her the top record producer in the female freshwater fly category, and she is also the top overall female record producer of the past year. With us tonight, with friends and family from Houston, Meredith, please come up and accept your awards.
Something on here. Okay, does my dress kind of look fishy? Okay, I did it on purpose. I did it on purpose. Thank y'all so much. This has just been a blast. It's so fun being here tonight, and it's just weird to think that it was just 3 years ago I was sitting in the same room with Dottie, watching Dottie get up there and being like, God, I don't know if I could ever do this. I don't know if I could ever go for world records. But thanks to Jack and Jason for all their consultation. There's been lots of phone calls asking about lots of leaders, knots, links. As Jack alluded to, I've had several denied. So I like to learn the hard way. I really do. I just go full force in and just submit everything I've got, and here we are. So it's been a blast. But what I would really like to do tonight is take these awards and try not to get emotional. Deep breath. Give honor to my first guide, my dad. He just passed away 6 months ago, and he was my teacher, my cheerleader, and my guide. And he's the one that imparted into me this amazing passion for this crazy sport. Why do I like fishing? I have no idea, but I love it. Freshwater, saltwater, fly, conventional, it doesn't matter. If there's fish to be caught, I'm gonna go after them. And I've just had a blast, and I love this challenge of world record fishing, and it's just upping my game. And I thank people like Dottie for paving the path, and Roberta, and I thank Marty for your consultation, and Martini for calling me out when my fish is not the fish I thought it was. But there's been so much learning going on, and I just love it. And I love that every day is a new day, and I think that's what I love about fishing. And I just thank you for the legends of this wonderful industry. And Chico, thank you for being here tonight. This is just really special. So thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
All right. So as I said earlier, that concludes the top record producer category for the evening. So let's give a round of applause again for everyone that recognized tonight. So now we're moving on to a new category, a new set of awards. This is the first year that we've ever had these. First year we've instituted these awards, and the reason for that was to recognize the top individual catches of the past year. You know, we just went through and recognized those anglers that put in the time and the hours and you know, accumulate large numbers of world records in certain categories, and certainly worthy of recognition. But what we lacked in the past at this event was recognizing those true special individual catches that maybe you can't plan for. Maybe regardless of how much research you put in and how much time you put in, you simply can't plan for. But that doesn't make them any less special or any less important. So with that being said, look to start off this new category with one of the most historic and impressive world records in probably the past decade or so, to say the least. Few species are as synonymous with big game angling as black marlin. For centuries, black marlin have been targeted by anglers around the world. They offer some of the toughest challenges regardless of your tackle used to catch them. Alfred Glasell's all-tackle black marlin, one of the most iconic fish in the world. It's simply just truly one of the premier game fish species. Well, on October 30th, 2014, Miss Stephanie Osgood Choate made angling history by landing an incredible 1,111-pound, 1-ounce black marlin while fishing Australia's infamous Great Barrier Reef. Choate's incredible fish went on to become the new women's 50-pound, 24-kilo line class record and replaced a record that had stood for nearly 40 years. It also made her the easy winner for the Trophy Catch Award for the Saltwater Heavy Tackle category this year. Joining us from her home in South Florida, I hear you had to jump through some hoops to get here tonight. I'm so happy you did. Stephanie, please come up and accept your award. Not to spill the beans or anything like that, but Stephanie's going to be back up here later on, so I think she's going to say a few words then. IGFA's founding fathers for a long time had a general disdain for sharks. They didn't view them as equivalent game fish to, say, billfish or tuna. That was all with one exception, and that was the mako shark. In fact, mako shark's a true game fish that even in Ernest Hemingway's novel, Old Man in the Sea, he describes the fish as being a fish built to feed on all the fishes in the sea that were so fast and strong and well-armed they had no other enemy. Mako sharks' notorious speed and strength, their willingness to strike both natural and artificial baits, and their incredible aerial displays and fights and everything like that make them truly one of the most respected game fish in saltwater recreational anglers around the world. Last September, September of 2014, a young lady who's joining us tonight from Australia, angler Pascal Patton, using only 12-pound line, 6-kilo, 12-pound line, caught an incredible 325-pound, 13-ounce mako. This is line that a lot of people wouldn't even use to go catch largemouth bass. She caught this huge mako shark on. Not only is this fish the heaviest saltwater game fish of the world record of the past year, caught on light tackle conventional gear, but it is also the saltwater world record with the highest ratio between the line used and the weight of the fish. We are humbled and honored to have Miss Pascal Patton in here tonight to accept her award, all the way from Australia with her father, John. Pascal, please come up.
Okay, not one for words, but I'd like to thank IGFA, my parents especially, who left Mum in Dallas, but Dad's come here with me, and as we all know, you can't do this without a crew, so I'd love to thank the crew that we had on the boat.
we didn't actually think much of this fish when we caught this fish. That day we caught you guys work in pounds, but we work in kilos. So we caught a 615 kilo tiger shark. So this one was kind of pushed to the side when we did catch this fish. And when we did work out that it was a world record, I didn't expect this, but I'm very honoured to be here to accept these awards, and thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, just push that little 300-pound Mako to the side. It's no big deal. Well, Meredith, I hope you didn't get too comfortable back there. In the 57 world records that she caught this past year, not only did she take home awards for the numbers that she caught, but she also mixed in some pretty big, impressive catches as well with all those records. Catching big fish on fly tackle, I'm not by any means a great fly fisher, and I'm farthest thing from it, but fly fishing is not easy. Nothing about it's easy. You're actually handicapping yourself by fly fishing, and it just makes it more difficult. But that, you know, a lot of the anglers find that as part of the appeal of fly fishing is the additional challenge that presents. Meredith this past year caught the heaviest saltwater world record on fly tackle. That was a 43-pound black drum that she caught on 16-pound class tippet while fishing in Louisiana. Meredith, please come back up and accept your award.
All right. Ooh, I like that one. I like this one.
They didn't have any blank, unfortunately.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, the big ugly. That's what we call this one. This one's a stinky, stinky fish. It's not one of my favorites. My girlfriend's the other day, and I want to thank all my family and friends that came out from Houston, Texas today. Can we give them a round of applause for coming all the way? And I have to say, of my girlfriends, which of you guys are fishermen? I have my sister right here, Ann, and my friend Melissa are my only fishing friends, really. So I don't have many female fishing friends, but they're great supporters, and I want to recognize my mom that's here tonight. And Mom, will you stand up? And she would allow Dad and I to go fishing. Thanks. Every year we did a father-daughter trip since 2005, and it's just been really special. It's the only time my dad would ever go on a trip without my mom was with me, and it was once a year, and we would go fishing together. So I just thank Mom so much for allowing Dad to take me with him on all those fly fishing trips, incredible ones. But you know, none of this could happen without our gear supporters, and so I want to take a moment to thank all the people that have supported me over this past year. And that is, oh, and I have to recognize my brother and sister-in-law too. I'm sorry, I didn't do that. My brother and sister-in-law, woo! Okay, sorry. And all my friends. And then, but I want to say to Able Reels, who have done amazing in supporting me with their reels from all weights, from 4 to 12. Thomas & Thomas, Sage, Platypus lines is a new found tippet that I've started using that are incredible, right, Jack? And we haven't over-tested on any of them yet. I haven't been denied yet once on Platypus, so that's good, right?
That's right.
Okay, good. Yes. So Platypus has been really good to me. If y'all haven't used that yet for your record catching, it's a good one. And then from Cortland Lined and also from Rio, they've been wonderful. Thomas & Thomas as well. So I just want to thank all my sponsors again for, or not sponsors, but supporters, really gear supporters. So thank y'all so much, and thanks for being here. Thank you.
You heard it here first, folks. You have to use platypus line for world records, right? Okay, so sticking with the fly theme here, we're going to call another another lady back upstage who is already on here. This time we're going to recognize Miss Dottie Valentine for not the number of records she caught this year, but one in particular, and that is a 26.5-pound redfish that Dottie caught November 20th, 2014. She caught that fish on 4-pound tippet. Not only is the catch extremely impressive, very worthy of recognition, but it was also the catch on fly tackle in saltwater that had the highest catch ratio of the past year of all saltwater fly world records. Pretty impressive. Without further ado, Dottie, would you please come back up and accept your award? Taking a break? We got the selfies. All right, here, we'll get him on the flip side. Here, I'll hold this so you can say a couple words. Here it comes.
Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, with the top catch ratio again this year in the freshwater fly category, gentleman was just up here again. I've never fished for these particular species of fish, these trahira, these wolf fish as they call them, but everything I've heard is, aside from being very ugly, they're intimidating looking fish. They have ferocious strikes. They hit bait, they hit lures, they hit fly, they hit everything, but where they live in rocky, fast-moving water areas, a lot of debris, a lot of sunken structure they like to hang out around. In other words, it would be the last place you'd want to pick up a fly rod with 2-pound tippet and try to catch one. But I'm not Richard Hart, so that's exactly what he did. During one of his expeditions out in jungles of Suriname last year, Richard landed several world records for here, actually. One of them being a 13-pound, 15-ounce fish on just 2-pound tippet, which is basically like hair. This incredible 6-to-1 ratio. Incredible 6-to-1 ratio earned Richard the highest ratio of any freshwater fly caught record of the past year. Richard, please come back up and accept your award.
I'll be brief. I talked about how I managed to do this, but as you mentioned, you can't do it without a team. And for me, I've been managing the last 3 years to travel the world while running a company that has 15 people and does auctions all over the country. So I really had to think, well, who is it that I can really thank here tonight? And that is one man. That's Mr. Ariel, our COO, who runs the whole company, the whole operation while I'm gone. Big round of applause. Stand up, sir. Thank you. Come on, don't be shy. But unfortunately, she fell ill tonight, and I really wanted to come. She came last year. The real person I have to thank is his boss, his wife. So give her a round of applause. She's at home recovering right now. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
All right. I mentioned this gentleman earlier in the show just briefly, but before we get to him, I'm just going to give a little background. Here in the United States, largemouth bass is, reigns supreme as the top freshwater game fish. It's the most popular by far. In Australia, it's not the case. I've never been there, but the barramundi fishery down there is extremely popular and extremely lively. It's the equivalent, if you will, of the largemouth bass in the United States. Extremely popular, very popular amongst a wide range of anglers. Tonight, we're lucky to have in attendance an angler who's caught more world record barramundi than anyone else on the planet. And that is Mr. Mark Hope. To date, Mark has set 16 different world records on barramundi. It's extremely impressive. A lot of these coming on light tackle, fishing from a kayak. Just to put that in perspective, be like if you imagine an angler in the United States having 16 world records on largemouth bass. It's unheard of. Perhaps one of the most impressive catches of Hope's very impressive resume is a fish that he caught this past year. 63-pound, 14-ounce, or a 29-kilo fish using just 6-pound line. Caught from his kayak fishing Australia's Lake Tinaroo. Mark and his wife have traveled all the way from Australia, from their home in Australia, to be with us this evening. We're extremely honored to have you. Mark, please come up and accept your award for the top catch ratio in the freshwater conventional tackle.
Okay, I'm pretty nervous, but I'm never going to get the chance to do this again. So firstly, I'd like to thank my wife, Bianca. There's a bit of give and take in every relationship. I take most of it and Bianca gives the rest. We live in Cairns, and in Cairns it's very frowned upon to fish freshwater, but some of my biggest supporters have been some of the black marlin fellas like Jack Erskine and Dennis Hayes, who are legends of the black marlin fishery. They've helped me with all my rigging and everything like that. Jack used to ring me once a week. He just used to give me everything. He was a great bloke. And a few of my mates who fish with me, Theo, Greg Johns, and yeah, a few blokes like that. And I'd just like to thank them. That's it. Thank you.
All right, that concludes the individual awards for this evening. We did the top record producers, and we did the trophy catch awards. So that concludes both of them. So before we move forward, let's get another big round of applause for everyone else out there. Congratulations. So now in its third straight year this past year, the IGFA has created the Angler's Choice Contest, and this is a contest where anglers from around the world are able to vote for their favorite world record of the past year. We narrow it down, I say we, IGFA narrows it down to 10 different catches, and people are able to vote throughout a month to vote on what they consider to be the most impressive world record. In short, what a contest it was this year. During the month of February, more than 24,000 votes were cast by nearly 10,000 unique individuals from around the world. This is the biggest number in the contest's short history, but spiked up from years past. When the dust settled at the end of the contest, when it was all over, there were two catches and two contestants that really distanced themselves from the rest of the pack. Joe Ludlow was one of them with his all-tackle OPA, which received 9,560 total votes. And the other one was Simon Smith's Atlantic Halibut, which is the 30-pound line class record, which received 10,805 total votes. The IGFA typically and historically had given these one award out for this contest. But at the end of the year and the end of the contest this year, when February came to a close, these two anglers and these two contestants and these two catches had raised so much awareness and had generated so much publicity for IGFA, and these two anglers had worked so hard to push their records in their contests that we decided that we would recognize them both. And you know what, we're lucky enough that both of them decided to come tonight. So before we get going with that, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for both of them. I'd like to recognize Mr. Simon Smith first for his Atlantic Halibut world record. Just a quick background on this catch. It was caught on October 25th, 2014. is a 111-pound, 5-ounce fish that he caught on 30-pound tackle. That's pretty impressive in itself right there. But the caveat to this, which makes it even more impressive, is that he fought the fish from shore. This is a shore-caught record. One of the heaviest Atlantic halibut ever recorded by the IGFA. Simon caught it from the shore. Surprisingly, the fight only lasted about 40-45 minutes. I'm surprised it's not longer than that. But undoubtedly, this is a catch of a lifetime, and we are once again so honored to have Simon here tonight, all the way from Norway. Please come up, Simon, and accept your award. That's a check bag right there.
Right, first of all, I'd like to thank IGFA for the initial nomination for this. All this is new to me. I never even dreamed of world records or even knew what IGFA was before this came about. I was just hunting for halibut from the shore, which is not really the to-do thing. But luckily enough, I hooked into a monster. Recently, I've lost bigger fish, so I'm on the hunt now for even bigger fish, and hopefully to beat my own record. But as he said, the shore is my passion. That's what I do. I don't fish from a boat. I love to fish from the shore. So that is where I'm going to keep trying, keep going, and hopefully get a bigger fish. So thank you very much for everybody that voted. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. Always hunting for the bigger fish. Thank you, Simon. Thank you again for traveling so far to be with us tonight. So the second winner of the Angler's Choice Award, I remember very clearly the first time I spoke with him, Mr. Joe Ludlow. He had just stepped off a long-range boat in San Diego after a several-day trip, and he had just weighed in new all-tackle world record for Opa, a very strange-looking fish. If you guys aren't familiar with it, orange, very strange-looking fish. But he had caught the fish. Fish weighed in at 180 pounds, 12 ounces, the biggest one ever recorded. He actually caught it using a vertical jig. Caught it using a vertical jig, fishing for yellowtail and yellowfin tuna. I can remember talking with Joe, and I remember feeling the excitement in his voice. It was something I could feel through the phone. And talking with Joe here tonight in the cocktail hour, I felt that same level of excitement. And we are very pleased to have Joe and his wife visiting us from Southern California tonight. So without further ado, Joe, please come up and accept your award.
Wow, okay. Thank you to Jack Vitek. I am a dedicated Southern California long-range fisherman, and I just love to go long-range fishing. That's my thing. I had no idea when I took off on that trip for 8 days that I was going to catch a world record. We were yellowtail fishing with these things. This is this piece of zinc that's painted blue and white, and I was fishing for yellowtail 200 feet down, and I hooked something huge that didn't behave like a yellowtail. And you know, most of us in the long-range fleet will never get a chance to catch an Opa. It's just so rare that you even get one in your whole career that, you know, all I knew, I was pulling on this huge fish, and all of a sudden it comes up, and the crew member, Bill Cavanaugh, who's standing next to me, says, "It's an OPA." And my brain just went like this. So he gaffs it, and then he says, "We're going to need more gaffs." And I thought, "Oh man, it's a big OPA." And then later on, when the captain, Justin Fleck, came down and told me that I had a potential all-tackle world record, my brain was blown again. And so many of you are species specialists that focus on marlin or ugly-looking fish from the Amazon or whatever. I got to tell you, I'm only coming back here if I get another great fish on a long-range trip. So this may be the last time you see me. As far as how did I manage, well, first of all, Jack, thank you for nominating me for the English Choice Award. It's been a pleasure. And for all the other nominees, some of whom are here, especially Miss Choate, fantastic fish. Simon, fantastic fish. So congratulations to all you who were in that contest. How did I manage to collect 9,500 votes? I have to say, my wife, who is the captain of our country club's golf team, took her computer down to the country club every day and signed people up and trained them how to vote and sent them emails every day to remind them. I owe a lot of gratitude to Justin Fleck, the captain of the XL, because he's the one that took us to where I caught this fish. But there aren't many times in your marriage that you get to find out what your wife is really made of. And she did this for me because she wanted this to be the final chapter in my greatest fish story. So, Caroline, thank you. I love you. Thank you for everything.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, now it's time for the big guns, the final 3 awards for tonight. These are the pinnacle awards of the evening: the Gilt Keach Heavy Tackle Award, the Bob Herder Light Tackle Award, and we will finish up with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone here for coming out. I'm going to invite Chico back up on stage to do the honors for these final 3 awards. Congratulations to you all, and thank you very much for coming out. Thank you. Hola, soy Chico Fernandez. I'm just kidding. No. I'm going to do the Keach and Herder for Chico, and he's going to come back up here and do the Lifetime Achievement Award. So a quick background for what these are, the Keach and Herder Awards. What are they? Where do they come from? The Gilbert Keach Heavy Tackle and the Bob Herder Light Tackle Awards represent endowments to the IGFA from the Ocean City Light Tackle Club. The purpose of the Keach and Herder Awards are to recognize and acknowledge the outstanding achievements of anglers, captains, and manufacturers in the fields of heavy tackle and light tackle angling, respectively. Historically, up until this past year, these prestigious awards have been given out at the IGFA's annual auction and banquet. However, due to their nature of being very angling related, they seem to be a perfect fit for this event, so we moved them here. First up, we're going to recognize the Gilt Keach Heavy Tackle Award. Past recipients of this award, again, this is a Heavy Tackle Award. Past recipients of this award include some names you might recognize: Neil Patrick, Captain Peter B. Wright, Alfred Glassell Jr., Captain Peter Bristow, Elwood Harry. These are just a few. So needless to say, it's pretty good company. This year we are pleased and honored to recognize an electric young angler that has accomplished more in the way of big game heavy tackle angling in the past several years than most of us will achieve in our lifetimes. But before we call her back up on stage, I'd like for us all to learn a little bit more about this year's Gilt Keach Heavy Tackle Award winner, who is Miss Stephanie Choate. Please roll the tape.
The Gilbert Keach Heavy Tackle Award acknowledges the outstanding achievements of anglers, captains, and manufacturers in the fields of heavy tackle angling. Past recipients of the Gilt Keach Heavy Tackle Award include Neil Patrick, Captain Peter Bristow, Kent Frazier, and Captain Peter B. Wright. This year, the IGFA is awarding Miss Stephanie Osgood Choate with the Gilt Keach Heavy Tackle Award. Few anglers have achieved in their lifetimes what Choate has done in the past several years. In July of 2014, Choate won the Blue Marlin World Cup Championship, one of the biggest billfish tournaments in the world, with a 656-pound blue marlin caught off Kona, Hawaii. Choate's pursuit of heavy tackle world records brought her to Cannes in October of 2014, where she set the women's 50-pound line class record for black marlin with a 1,111-pound and 1-ounce fish, breaking the record that had stood for nearly 30 years. In addition to her tournament wins and historic record catch, Choate has also released several grander bluefin tuna and black marlin. Most recently, Choate completed her Billfish Royal Slam, capturing 9 of the world's billfish species in just over a year's time. The IGFA congratulates Stephanie Osgood Choate on receiving this prestigious award.
Stephanie, come on up, please.
I really didn't plan on speaking, but I've been fishing since 5 a.m. this morning, so I really don't even know where I am right now. But I just want to say thank you to you guys. The IGFA in general, they've become my family. Since I was very little, I didn't really know how rare it was to have this kind of family, aside from your blood relations. And over the last few years, my father, who is my lifeline, he introduced me to this wonderful group of people who've taken me under their wing and just been so supportive, because it's a very strange group of people that we live within. We are weird people that like to go after weird records, and it's very strange, but they're goals, and they're these incredible things that we do to show the world what exists underneath the water, because nobody would really know without us, I don't think. And it's an incredible thing to be in a group of people in a room with people that love to do that. And I have such an incredible support system. Gary Carter, Rob, Jack, Mike, Eric, John, Poppy. You people inspire me all the time to do more and to go after these things that I was so lucky enough to be brought up around. And obviously my father, who just never doubted me for a second. Even when I was little and I wanted to catch big fish, he just never questioned it, and he let me have the rod, and he wouldn't let anybody touch my rod, and he made me make sure that nobody ever did anything for me, because he believed in me, and then I started to believe in myself. And I grew up around those people who just always supported me, and especially in a world where sometimes when you do these things, people don't quite understand, and there is this, I guess, stigma against it in some ways. And to have you guys and to have this support, to me, means the world. And my dad and I, we went on this journey together the last 4 years. I couldn't really say no, because I got to spend time with somebody who I've been told since I was very little was very special, and I always knew he was. And I didn't really understand much about fishing. I mean, I was brought up doing it, but I was like, oh, we're going fishing. And I didn't quite get how much it lived within him. And once he started introducing me to his friends and his people and his family and the people that he admires, all of you, I got to see what it really meant to be a part of this organization. And 4 years later, we did things together that we never thought possible. And to see my dad just put his hand on my hand after catching a huge fish and cry to me and just tell me how proud he was of me. And to be able to share that moment with your father, for anyone in your lifetime, is just a gift. And he's a gift, and he's given me this gift, which is to be here with all of you and to share this with my friends and to promote this in a great way. Like, you know, this is so much fun. And fishing is so much fun. And to promote that amongst people my generation and my friends who've really never fished before. I mean, I got to take my best friend in the whole world who's here tonight, who flew here from New York, to Australia, where she became a first fish, you know, photographer of her life. She never thought she'd be published. So to give these gifts to my friends and to have their support and just to be so loved amongst a really incredible group of people is, I'm so grateful and I'm so blessed. And it was so funny at the end of these 4 years, I was really tired. And there was like 2 years there. I don't think me and my dad stopped traveling. Like, we weren't in one place for more than 2 weeks in over 2 years, I think is pretty much what it was, which was insane. But at the end of it, I said, I need to take a break. I'm moving to Key West. I live there now. I'll see you there. Choate, you and I, yeah. He looked at me and he put his hand on me again. He's like, well, you go take a break, but just don't forget one thing. And I'm thinking he's going to say, you know, the experiences you had, the people who influenced you, the crew, the captains, which is all a major part of it. But he said to me, just don't forget the fish. Because the fish is like why we're here, and conservation and being a part of that whole process and knowing, you know, where they need to breed and what they need to do and really studying the fish and loving the fish, because that's why we're here and that's why we're all in this room together. And that was really meaningful to me because he's just someone that he has a deep love for them, and I have that deep love too, and I was able to get that connection with him. So just wanted to share that with you all, and thank you again. This is obviously just such a cool thing, so thank you.
Very good. Great speech. So, the Bob Herder Light Tackle Award is the equivalent in light tackle, obviously in the Gilt Keach. The achievements for the Bob Herder and the Keach include, but are not limited to, world records, outstanding catches made on light tackle, made in accordance with IGFA rules, or outstanding innovations in fishing methods or equipment that benefit the sport. To give you a little background, some of the past recipients of this light tackle award include names like Enrico Capozzi, Raleigh Working, Captain Skip Smith, Gary Carter. Once again, some pretty distinguished company. Tonight we honor an angler that I've had the pleasure of working with over the past 6 years, but she's been setting world records on light tackle for the past 2 decades. On fish, some of the most prestigious saltwater game fish out there, and she shows no indication of slowing down. Before I get too carried away and speak over the video, let's run the tape for Miss Maureen Claus as the 2016 Bob Herder Light Tackle Award winner.
The Bob Herder Light Tackle Award acknowledges the outstanding achievements of anglers, captains, and manufacturers in the field of light tackle angling. Past recipients of this award include Enrico Capozzi, Gary Carter, Aaron and Guy Jacobson, and Raleigh Working. This year, the IGFA honors Mrs. Maureen Claus with the Bob Herder Light Tackle Award. Over the past 2 decades, Claus has set more than 20 light tackle world records on some of sport fishing's most prized saltwater game fish, mostly in the waters surrounding her home in Ocean City, New Jersey. Some of Claus's most impressive catches include an 80-pound bluefin tuna on 16-pound line, a 44-pound red drum on 6-pound line, and a 112-pound 3-ounce Mako shark on 4-pound line. Claus's first record didn't come until 2001, and she shows no indication of slowing her pursuits of world record game fish on light tackle. The IGFA congratulates Maureen Claus on her incredible angling accomplishments over the years and those still to come.
Coming up, Maureen.
It's nice to finally meet you in person. Thank you, Jack.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks. All right, thanks a lot. I'm a little short. If I look nervous, I am. I'm not used to doing this kind of thing. I just like to fish and not have to tell anybody about it. But I want to thank my family, especially my family, my daughters that are here with me tonight, and my husband who put up with all the BS that goes with the fishing. And to my father-in-law, who 40 years ago decided to make his life more complicated by taking me offshore fishing. To my dear friend and captain, Bob Ogden, who got me through my first 8 line class records. The man who has no patience, that taught me how to be patient on the learning curve of fishing light line. To my other friend and captain, Ricky Wheeler, who couldn't be here tonight, for helping me think out of the box. To my sponsor, Tackle Direct, who has helped me tremendously. And finally to the IGFA for giving me this award, for making me, a backyard fisherman, feel like somebody special. Thank you very much.
To cap off the evening tonight, the culmination of our award ceremony is the Lifetime Achievement Award. And to do the honors of that tonight is future Hall of Famer Chico Fernandez is going to come back up and announce that. So thank you, Chico.
Thank you, thank you. The IGFA Lifetime Achievement Award is reserved for those anglers, captains, guides, and manufacturers who have accomplished incredible angling feat or have had substantial impact on IGFA world records, slam and trophy clubs, and other angling achievement governed by IGFA rules over the course of a lifetime. In its first year of instituting new requirements for the Lifetime Achievement Award, the IGFA is recognizing one of the most iconic, influential, inspirational, and deserving anglers in the history of the sport fishing. Someone who has truly done it all. Before we honor him in the 2016 Lifetime Achievement Award, let's learn a little more about how Mr. Raleigh workings has impacted the world of sport fishing.
The IGFA's Lifetime Achievement Award is reserved for those anglers, captains, guides, and manufacturers who have accomplished incredible angling feats, or who have had a substantial impact on IGFA world records, slam and trophy clubs, and other angling activities governed by IGFA rules over the course of their lifetime. This year, the IGFA recognizes Mr. Raleigh Working, one of the most iconic, influential, inspirational, and deserving anglers in the history of sport fishing. For over 30 years, Working has pursued the world's top game fish on light tackle, compiling an impressive 47 world records on premier game fish species such as Pacific sailfish, roosterfish, dolphinfish, Chinook salmon, red drum, and more. Working's first world record came in 1987, and he is still pursuing records to this day. Some of his most impressive records include a 141-pound 8-ounce Pacific sailfish on 4-pound line, a 54-pound 9-ounce roosterfish on 8-pound line, and a 44-pound 12-ounce Chinook salmon on 2-pound line. In an interview done for the 2007 IGFA World Record Game Fishing book, Working stated that, "Chasing world records is a true passion for me. The whole process is exciting, fun, and challenging. When it comes to record fishing, nobody could enjoy it more than me, regardless of the outcome. I've caught fish I never should have caught, and lost fish that I never should have lost." In addition to his numerous world record catches, Working has also consulted with several premier tackle companies and fishing resorts, lending his knowledge and expertise of the sport to help produce a better product or experience for recreational anglers around the world. Working was a founding member of the Bonefish and Tarpon Trust, and over his career has received several prominent awards for his contributions to sport fishing, including the IGFA's Bob Herder Light Tackle Award and the Safari Club International's coveted C.J. McElroy Award, named after the organization's founder. Raleigh has been featured in a variety of top freshwater and saltwater fishing magazines, and has made numerous guest appearances on popular outdoor shows including Larry Dahlberg's The Hunt for Big Fish, North American Fisherman, Sportsman's Challenge, and Guy Harvey's Portraits of the Deep. In 1995, the Miami Herald published an article on Raleigh, where outdoor writer Sue Cocking stated that, "To call Raleigh Working a light tackle fisherman would be like labeling Nolan Ryan as just another pitcher." The IGFA congratulates Raleigh Working on this prestigious award and thanks him for the timeless contributions he has made to recreational angling.
Unfortunately, Raleigh's not able to join us tonight for health reasons, so accepting the award on his behalf is his friend and fishing partner, Mr. Jeff Harkavy. Come on up, Jeff. Okay, you're back.
Let's get a picture with Chico.
Thank you, Chico, and a big thanks to the IGFA for hosting this wonderful annual tradition. Big thanks to all of you who've showed up to celebrate our award recipients tonight. This is an unusual opportunity. I would much rather my brother, my friend, Raleigh, to be here today to accept his award. Unfortunately, he's dealing with a life-threatening illness, and that being said, he'd asked me to step in his place. I want to ask for your patient indulgence. Many of the speeches tonight were short and beautiful and wonderful. I'm probably going to carry on a few minutes and ask for about 8 minutes of your time. There's a lot to say. A book could be written about this man, and probably will be at some point. Well, let me start by just giving a couple of shout-outs that Raleigh had asked of me. First of all, Stephanie, Raleigh wanted to send his utmost congratulations to you and to your father. We know how proud he is of you, how proud you are of yourself, and you've just been a great source of inspiration to so many of us, including my fisher girl, Heather. Congratulations. To prior Lifetime Achievement Award recipients that are in the room, that would mean the Arastegis, the amazing Arastegi family, who have been such a great source of inspiration and support to so many anglers, including my daughter and I, to Steve Wozniak, to Dottie Valentine, who just continues to marvel us year after year with fascinating and outstanding catches. Big congratulations to you. Meredith McCord, wow, gangbusters. At the trajectory you're on, you'll probably be the all-time record holder at some point. Big congratulations to you. And to the rest of tonight's awards recipients who haven't had the chance to meet, a big congratulations. I got to share that In the junior and small fry categories, Julia and Lydia, wow, I'm so proud of you both. My daughter Heather will be spinning like a top when she hears about your achievements this year. Congratulations. So how does one adequately describe a friend and fishing mentor like Raleigh? Well, first I'll start with some nicknames. Raw, or more affectionately, Brother Raw. Or when we're celebrating something big in life, he's the Raleigh man. When he's pulling off the miraculous, which he's prone to do, we call him the Raleigh Dama, which is a play on words for feats that one would expect from no one less than the Dalai Lama himself. In a moment, I'll explain how this last nickname ties into Raleigh's impressive fishing history. But first, let me explain how it ties into his very survival. About 10 weeks back, Raleigh suddenly felt so weak that he could hardly walk across the room. Tricia, his delightful bride, whom so many of you know in the room, thought maybe it was his heart, and she rushed him to the emergency room. When he got there, the doctor said, "Now your ticker's fine, Raleigh, but your blood count's so low that technically you should be dead." In his career, and in a career of other doctors that have seen him, nobody's ever seen a blood count so low. What he is diagnosed with is a rare blood marrow disorder called MDS, and it prohibits his bone marrow from producing the three things it's supposed to produce: red and white blood cells and blood platelets. So it has resulted in a medical protocol, which is 6 days of chemo each month, every month, until he's eligible for bone marrow transplant. Now, here's some good news, because I don't mean to bring everyone down, and this is a celebration tonight. After a dozen blood transfusions and 2 rounds of chemo over the last 10 weeks, which is just an extraordinary routine to go through, Raleigh's blood count is starting to rise. And so it looks like he's going to make a comeback here, and we're looking forward to that. But upon hearing his diagnosis, Raleigh kicked into what I call full Raleigh Dama mode, where he remains undaunted as he continues to harness his indefatigable will for and focus on a complete healing. Raleigh's new goal in life now is really simple: getting his blood count numbers high enough to merit a bone marrow transplant. So, in my humble opinion, knowing Raleigh as I do, I think this bone marrow disorder needs to get packing, because Raleigh is going to kick its butt. Just give him some time. Well, I've seen Raleigh get into this metaphysical zone in other aspects of his life, especially fishing. Skippy Smith, I know you can attest to this as well. We've both watched him best a swordfish. That was just a little shy of the 8-pound line class record after a 4-hour fish fight. In fact, you guys are 2 for 2 on swordfish. When Raleigh is working a fish on light line, there's something that's completely unique. It's as though he takes on the persona of Crocodile Dundee. He just wills that fish up to the surface. His will can't be broken, and he ultimately breaks the will of the fish. His tool of choice is a Shimano TLD 2.0 2-speed reel, and he works those gears like it's a fine-tuned instrument. I think when we were on Skip's boat, we joked that he's kind of like Jimi Hendrix there. The way he plays that thing, it's unbelievable. So he's really got a gift for light tackle fishing. So I'd like to share a bit more about Raleigh's fishing history, but with an emphasis on how the Raleigh Dama has worked his magic through the years. And again, I ask you in advance for your kind indulgence. This man's achievements are long, and I'll try to keep this, as I promised the IGFA, down to about 8 or 9 minutes. Raleigh credits his grandfather as being one of his great fishing and life mentors. He gave Raleigh his first rod, which was a cane pole with a bobber, and at the age of 5 started taking Raleigh fishing, and they spent a lot of time on the Potomac and the Chesapeake rivers, which Raleigh marveled at. During a visit to Florida in the early 60s, Raleigh's goal at that time was to catch a barracuda. He'd never seen one of those toothy critters. You don't find many of those in Maryland where he lived. But by the time Raleigh moved to Florida in the late 60s, he was completely hooked on fishing. Raleigh's longest fish fight was a blue marlin estimated at over 500 pounds that he caught on 16-pound line. He fought this fish for nearly 7 hours. He was with Dave Farrell, the editor of Marlin magazine. They were 20 miles offshore at Tropic Star and the sun was starting to set. It was one of those scenes where you just had to tighten down the drag and take your chances because it was time to turn in, and you certainly don't want to be out in the dark with all the flotsam that could rip the bottom of your boat out. So he kept tightening down the drag, and ultimately the fish broke off. Didn't get that fish to the boat. And to be sure, not all of Raleigh's best fishing memories resulted in a fish being caught or records being set. In fact, one of his favorite memories is joining Guy Harvey and his son Alex at Tropic Star Lodge when Alex was very young. It was his first sail fishing trip, and seeing that young man's passion that was akin to his father was just a great joy to Raleigh as well. They pulled off a triple header on sailfish that day, sat there back to back, hooting and hollering. For any of you who have been in those doubles and triple situations, you know that rush. An earlier memory was taking Mike Leach and Guy Harvey to Tropic Star for the first time. He wanted me to mention that tonight, Mike. One of Raleigh's all-time favorite memories is setting up a Make-A-Wish Foundation trip for a young lad by the name of Jacob Snyder, who had lost a leg and was dealing with cancer. Jacob and his family went down to Tropic Star Lodge, and Raleigh set up all the details with Terry and Mike Andrews' help. And on the first day, this boy just wanted to catch a sailfish. That was his wish. On his first day, that family put up 26 white sails. It was a great, epic day. And the following morning, they went out full of expectation and joy and from the day before. And Jacob ends up catching a junior angler Kubera world record. So that's just a terrific story that Raleigh feels so blessed by. Another of Raleigh's favorites was catching a 118-pound halibut on 6-pound line. They had to inch up from 250 feet of water with his 2-speed reel during a battle that lasted 3 hours. When he talks about his best day on the water, it had nothing at all to do with records. It was during one of his many Christmas holidays at Tropic Star Lodge. Raleigh had a bit too much to drink the night before and slept in. He left the docks at 10 a.m. and over the next few hours, he caught 4 black marlin that were tailing at the surface. They were between 250 and 350 pounds each, and he caught them each on 16-pound line. They were back at the docks by 4 o'clock. So lots of great records to Raleigh's credit, but not all of his favorite stories were attached to those records. But let's talk about some of those records for a moment. Raleigh has amassed 47 impressive world records since 1987, 35 of which were caught on 8-pound or lighter line. He is a light tackle specialist. More specifically, Raleigh has caught 9 records on 8-pound line, 11 records on 6-pound line, 10 on 4-pound line, and 5 on 2-pound line. Like many of the top record hunters, Raleigh takes great pride in rigging and being totally prepared. That reminds me of you too, Marty. He has always felt that he could catch anything he hooked. As Raleigh puts it, when record hunting, he doesn't fish to play, he plays to win. Though all of Raleigh's records are impressive, I'll share just a handful of the ones that he's most proud of. First of all, in the offshore realm, Raleigh's very first record was a sailfish caught on 4-pound line. He wasn't even record hunting at the time, but merely trying to get on the 20-to-1 catch ratio leaderboard at Tropic Star Lodge, with hopes of catching a fish in the 80-pound or so range. He was having a ball fishing with his pal and former Yankees great Rudy Mays, who Raleigh had met during his semi-pro baseball days. Raleigh shared with me that if he had not sustained a back injury a year earlier, he never would have had Federico spool up that 4-pound line on his reel. When Eleanor recorded the weight at the lodge, it was 120 pounds, and they all realized that this was an outstanding world record. And Raleigh realized that record hunting is pretty cool. His fire was lit. A few years later, in 1990, while Raleigh was down in Flamingo Beach, Costa Rica, fishing on his good friend Tim Choate's boat, he caught a 103-pound sailfish on 2-pound line. Tim, Raleigh wants to say a big thanks once again for making that opportunity possible for him. Fast forwarding now to 1992, Raleigh completed his sailfish record trilogy while celebrating Christmas at Tropic Star with his soon-to-be bride, Tricia. And he did this by besting a 141.5-pound sailfish on 4-pound line with Captain Lombardo and mate Fausto. 24 years later, this great catch still endures as the heaviest sailfish ever taken on 4-pound line. Two other long-standing Tropic Star records are Raleigh's 53-pound mahi and 54-pound 9-ounce roosterfish, both taken on 8-pound line. He's got some great inshore accomplishments as well, which include a 66-pound black drum on 2-pound line and 90-pound black drum on 4-pound line. Both of these were caught with our mutual friend and extraordinary captain, Joe Porcelli, in Raleigh's home waters of New Smyrna Beach. Raleigh also holds the 6-pound line class record for redfish, a 51.5-pound catch he made with George Beck in Oriental, North Carolina. Finally, in the freshwater realm, Raleigh's records include a 43.75-pound Chinook salmon caught on 2-pound line in Alaska on a Kenai with Captain Mike Price, and two 20-pound chum salmon records, one caught on 4-pound line, the other caught on 6-pound line with Captain Gil McLean out of Terrace, British Columbia. Raleigh maintains that pound for pound, chum salmon are the toughest species he's ever done battle with. Now, Larry Dahlberg, who Raleigh considers to be one of the greatest anglers of all time, sent me a note last week saying that in the 20-plus years he has known Raleigh, he has never met a bigger promoter or supporter of the sport of fishing. To quote Larry, Raleigh's single-minded dedication and measured patience has yielded him greatly deserved success in his pursuit of world record fish on light tackle and in his many business endeavors. Guy Harvey, another longtime friend and colleague who had hoped to be here tonight, wanted me to express how happy he is that Raleigh is being acknowledged with this Lifetime Achievement Award, and that, to quote him, Raleigh could not be a more deserving candidate for this great honor. Raleigh credits both of these gentlemen as having had a great influence on his fishing career and his conservation ethic. On that note, it is important to point out that Raleigh always has had a conservation ethic, and it's always been on the forefront of his mind. And to be sure, he was one of the original advocates, along with Martini Arasta, of introducing the IGFA's all-tackle length record category. And Raleigh also became one of the founding members of Bonefish and Tarpon Trust at my urging, and helped us create our early marketing materials. You may have seen the photo of that first meeting, but Raleigh was at the very first board meeting for Bonefish and Tarpon Trust at Ocean Reef, and that was 18 years ago. And he was accompanied by a lot of greats. Chico Fernandez was with us, Stu Apt, and the late great Billy Pate, George Hummel, and Doug Hannon. I don't know if it's possible to show that picture again, but if so, give it a whirl. So I've heard it said that gratitude is the highest form of human consciousness. Raleigh calls it a recipe for success. Our friend Raleigh could not be more grateful for the wonderful life he is living and the wonderful people he shares it with. He declares how blessed his life is every time we talk. This is why I'm so confident that Raleigh's health will be restored. Raleigh wanted me to give a shout out and special thanks to a handful of friends and captains, some of whom I've already mentioned. Here are a few others. His good friend Mike Myatt, he's greatly pained he could not be here today. Jeff Aderman, who has graciously made the filming of this event possible so that Raleigh can see the reel in the near future. Stu App, Dave Boltice, Captains Tim Berg, Carl Anderson, Sean Foster, and Wayne Kahn, Mike and Gussie Leach, John and Poppy Brownlee, Marianne Martin, Mr. Bill Crozier, who flew in from San Francisco on very short notice to be with us tonight, Albert Batu, who flew in from Trinidad with his mother to be here tonight, but then she took ill and he couldn't be here in the end. And also his Angling Technologies LLC partner and Microwave Guards partner, Russ Riley. The Tropic Star team, we've got Adrian Reeve and her daughter Carrie, Mark Carlson and his dad. Thanks for being here. But hey, Mr. Bill, when Raleigh recently shared with me that the fishing lifestyle is the best lifestyle to be blessed with, he added that Mr. Bill is the head of that class. Now, two of Raleigh and my favorite stories combined were our days on the water with Mr. Bill Crozier, who, Billy, you 91 or 92 now? You 91 or 92 now? I can't hear you. He's bluffing, he hears me great. Oh, I'll be 94, May 10th. God bless you. Hoo-ha. So two of our favorite memories on the water will be the day we watched Mr. Bill, I think he was 89 at the time, best two blue marlin somewhere north of 400 pounds on stand-up gear. And on the second fish, Raleigh and I were a little concerned. We said, hey, Bill, you've got this beautiful brand new fighting chair. Why don't you use it a little bit? And he turned to me and he said, you wuss, when you're up, you can sit in that chair if you want. Okay. And he bested the fish in short time. The other great day we had was on Bill's 90th birthday. The three of us went up by Labardo's neighborhood, a little north of Tropic Star Lodge. Mr. Bill wanted to get a trophy roosterfish, something that he just got over the years. And he got about a 70-pound roosterfish that day. And it was a lot of fun. God bless you, Mr. Bill. Thank you for being with us. Well, for Raleigh, one of the greatest aspects of this sport is the bond you make along the way with the folks you meet along the way. He is a cooperative hunter in every sense of the word. He takes the advice of those who have specialized expertise, and he uplifts others by sharing all that he knows unselfishly to help ensure their success. One example was the way he helped my daughter Heather and I map out many of her world record pursuits. She was so proud that Raleigh was on the boat with us when she caught her 66-pound junior angler black drum record in 2009. Raleigh shared with me that he would not be receiving this award tonight if it were not for all of the great folks that have inspired and been there for him along the way. He said he wouldn't have received this award, he wouldn't have got the Bob Herter Light Tackle Award, or a Safari Club International Award, which, by the way, is the only time the Safari Club has honored somebody who is predominantly an angler, not a hunter. So he thanks all of his many great captains and angling friends that he's bonded with along the way. Now, I'd be terribly remiss if I didn't share the depth of love, friendship, and respect shared by the workings and Mike and Terry Andrews, the proprietors of Tropic Star Lodge. Between 1982 and 1989, Raleigh visited the lodge 22 times as a paying customer. That's a pretty good span in 7 years. Ultimately, he started exchanging marketing advice and consulting for trips, and a long, mutually beneficial relationship grew from there. Both Raleigh and Terry insisted that I share some of their sentiments. Raleigh told me that he will never forget the opening and opportunity that Terry and Mike made for him to grow with them in a Tropic Star business, some of the best years of his life and some of the warmest relationships he's ever enjoyed. Terry shared that Raleigh took her by the hand and showed her how to stop having the lodge be the best kept secret fishing spot in the world to become the world-class bucket list of fishing destinations it has become over the past few decades. She gives Raleigh a lot of credit for that. She says, Raleigh is a man I'm proud to call my brother and one of my best friends. Now in closing, as we all know, behind every great man is an equally great woman. Trish, who had hoped and planned to be here tonight, felt that she could not leave Raleigh's side in the end. Raleigh's last round of chemo had weakened both his body and his appetite. Trish felt she needed to be there and try to get some good nutrition into him. She's been Raleigh's rock each time he's had any issue come up in his life. And every time that we talk, he tells me just how remarkable she is and how blessed he is to have her at his side. And for that, he's very grateful, and so are those that know him and love him. One story about the two of them fishing that Raleigh likes to share. When they were in British Columbia a few years back, Trish was trying to flex her new fly fishing skills. They were standing fairly close to each other, and one of Trish's back casts almost hooked Raleigh in the head. After that, he urged her to go a little further downstream. In fact, he didn't urge her, he told her, go downstream, which she did. Her very next cast produced a world record pink salmon. As Raleigh likes to put it, you just can't make this stuff up. You've been a great audience and very indulgent, but I have one last request of you. Jeff Ademan, who was very gracious in bringing his film equipment out here today, is filming this event. I'd like to ask everyone to turn in the direction of that camera on a count of 3 and join me in a big get well soon Raleigh Dama. 1, 2, 3. Get well soon Raleigh Dama. Thank you. Thank you all.